Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings today. We have a trending news here for you. And the headline of the news reads, Tension increases in Imo State as Accredited Election Observer Group exposes Hope Uzodinma. But before we continue with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube.
All right, an accredited election monitoring and observer group, the Center for Transparency Advocacy, CTA, has raised the alarm over what it called the history of election rigging by the All Progressive Congress in Imo State. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous judgment delivered on Wednesday, upturned the electoral mandate of the People's Democratic Party candidate in the last March governorship election, Emeka, Ihedioha, and asked the Independent National Election Commission, INEC, to issue certificates of return to the candidate of APC, Senator Hope Uzodinma. The commission has since complied with the judgment of the Apex Court, but the CTA, in a statement signed by its executive director, Faith Nwadishi, and made available to newsmen in Abuja, expressed concern that in the results of the 388 polling units added to the vote of the APC candidate and governor-elect, other 69 political parties that fielded candidates were scored 0. The question begging for answer is, where did APC candidate get the extra vote to make him governor? Okay, so the result from 388 polling units alleged to have been excluded had only result for APC, while other political parties scored 0. What happens to their votes as well? The non-government organization further recalled that in the last general elections, returning officer for Imo West Senatorial District accused Senator Rochas Okorocha of forcing him to sign fake election results under duress, while the senator that won in the Imo North, that's the late Senator Benjamin Nwajumugo, allegedly used 2015 election results to return himself as well as senator-elect in 2019. Oh God. The statement further read in part, politicians have also resorted to a new type of contrived obstruction of the will of electoral process by forging results and returning themselves in elections dubiously. CTA is concerned that Imo State has become a guinea pig to test wrong political and judicial malfeasance. The case of late Senator Benjamin Nwajumugo of Imo State Senatorial District comes to mind when INEC allegedly used a 2015 result sheet to fraudulently return himself as a senator-elect in 2019 and was ordered to be sworn in by the court when INEC insisted on not issuing him with the certificate of return. The court also stopped INEC from releasing and making public the report of the panel set up to investigate the matter. What was the court hiding? It is on record that the returning officer for Imo West Senatorial District on public television said he was returning Senator Rochas Okorocha under duress for fear of his life and his entire family. Yet, the court saw nothing wrong and ordered INEC to issue Okorocha with a certificate of return, and subsequently, Okorocha was sworn in as a senator of the Federal Republic. The judiciary, as the last hope of the common man, must live up to its expectation and be above board in the sense that the judiciary should not be seen as aiding electoral rascality and fraud. The level of desperation by the political class should not be rewarded by the judiciary. This kind of behavior should not be accepted, and the outcome of such elections should not be allowed to stand by the judiciary, and beneficiaries of such elections malpractice should be punished. A situation where an electoral umpire will organize and conduct an election but will have no say in the outcome of the election should be addressed in future electoral reforms, he said.
All right, thank you very much. And this is really an amazing situation. It's not just amazing, it's a pathetic one for Nigeria. These guys are not just any kind of group. They are actually One of the accredited, as you've heard in the news, they are one of the accredited election monitoring and observer group. That's their name is a Center for Transparency Advocacy, and we all knew what happened in Imo State. It was one place that we heard a lot of things, especially in the area of rigging, in the area of political desperations on the part of politicians. Imagine someone like Rochas Okorocha, what he did, to a point that the returning officer had to say it plumb and plain that he was put under duress to sign election results, which means what he saw was not good enough, or was what he had did not tally with what he signed. That was what it meant. And when that came up, to some extent, we saw the level of independency of INEC as they refused giving him certificate of origin, only for the court to come up and say, why should you hold it down? And before we know, pressure from here and there, and he was issued with the certificate of return. These are some of the things that we must look critically into. And the most amazing side that even up till now, as I'm talking to you, I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that this guy, Uzodinma, who is now currently, I've got no problem with him. God based me weak. I got no problem with him. Congratulations, you win. But hey, that sometimes we need to sit back, reflect at certain things that have happened. Okay, you have won. Congratulations. Can we see how you won? Only for us to hear that 388 polling units, all the results were collated, and he scored. He won in all of them. Can you just imagine, no matter what you do, no matter how good you are, you cannot win in a polling unit, you yourself, as you win and the other person didn't even score one, when we already know that in Imo State, huge support were given to PDP because people want the present day government to change. And you win 380. How now, bros? How now? And by the time we started adding up everything, we realized that the number of votes was even greater than the accredited voters. And now you can see what is happening. More groups are coming up to talk because nobody can really understand what is going on. It's really a surprising thing to see a man who was at number 4 jumping from that position to be number 1. How? No wonder Uche Nwosu is waking up right now and trying to say, man, I don't understand what you guys are doing. But if Emeka Ihedioha should be kicked out of that position, maybe because of whatever thing you guys say he did, I should be the second position. The second position should be the one to take over. So the first question that everyone is asking the Supreme Court, on what basis did you make your decision? Already we saw that what this guy, adding whatever he had, he brought from the 388 polling unit and summing up with what he had currently, made the voting more than the accredited voters. So who were the guys that voted the other one? This is one question that is yet to be answered, and that is why people are demanding right now. I believe that if this thing is pushed further than now, beyond this level, I believe that individual judges who were behind that decision, they will be called upon to tell Nigerians how they arrive at that. And I'm seeing this war fighting itself, and who knows in the nearest future if Emeka Ihedioha will not return back to that position, because it's really amazing. It doesn't just add up. We need to bring in sanity into this thing. We need to bring in transparency, accountability. Forget rewarding these desperate guys. They know the money that they are going out there to see. Imagine the guy who is now led, the senator who is now led, what he did. How can you be using 2015 result to get yourself into power?
Yeah, my God.
And when INEC observed it, they said, no, we can't accept this. And the court said, why won't you accept it? My friend, pushing by Bushman, judiciary is one of the problems of Nigeria. Judiciary is one of the problems we are having. And the next thing the judiciary will say is, we are put under pressure. Don't you understand your position, that you are an independent arm of the government? Don't you understand it? That no matter the pressure that the executive is putting you under, you must learn to respect yourself. That's why I love what I see out there in the white country. I just love it. You see somebody throwing in paper and saying, man, throwing in towel and saying, I'm resigning from this job. I cannot entertain all this nonsense. Our own, instead of that, we don't mind doing anything just to make sure that you still stay in that position. It's not right. I think this thing must be corrected. Those judges who were in the Supreme Court, who are behind this whole thing, they should be called to answer certain questions. INEC itself should. I think they have the power to go to court with those guys and tell them,
let me ask you the question. Who will call them? You said they should be called. Please, I want to know who is that person that will call CJN Tanko to order. I want to know, since he's even the guy that is on top, who is going to call him to order?
Who will call him to order? What I'm talking about there, if you say that I am independent, in other words, my decision is strictly independent, I have the right, if what you did under me is absolutely wrong. That's what I mean is, if you say something, I presented my result and you end up saying it is wrong, I have the right to call you and ask you questions. And it's not going to just be a round table talk. It's going to be in the law court. I will sue you and sue the result that you have published, which you believe it is a legitimate result.
Supreme Court, that's the apex court.
I'm talking about this. You don't understand legal proceeding. We kickstart another issue. This time around, it is with the judges individually.
Okay.
We call you to explain to us what you mean by this result.
But it's their colleagues that will head the panel, right?
It is their colleague that will.
And their colleague will not expose their fellow colleague.
I feel that they will, because don't forget that in the federal in the first level high court. Emeka Ihedioha won. Reason is because they don't understand what this guy was showing them. It happens same in appeal court. So I believe to some extent, when they are being questioned, whatever they are going to do will be based on their statement. Nobody says that the CGN cannot be sued.
They won't allow it. This is Nigeria.
Well,
they won't allow it.
It's just my suggestion, my candid suggestion.
But we're talking based on the fact that on a SENA claim, on a right environment, that's how it should be done. But this is Nigeria. It's very amazing when I get to hear things like 2015 result being used to bring in a senator into 2019, and the INEC people who are supposed to be very independent were forced, cajoled, to give certificate of return. The hand of God has taken it. He's dead now. He's late. He died in December. And let him sit on the seat now. See, nobody's above God. The whole attitude everybody's playing, they're all playing God with Nigeria. All the corrupt politicians we have in Nigeria are playing God. Nigeria is now being ruled by selected elites, where the power of power to the people by the people who say so. We only bear democracy by name. We don't act it. You can imagine during election, they say, come out with your voter's card. Come out, your vote count. Who said the electorate vote count in Nigeria? You lie if you think so. Because the truth of the matter, look at what happened in Kogi, where all of them came. Some of the electorate even guided their ballot box with their lives. They guarded their ballot box with their lives. Imagine what they just said. Now those idiots, those riffraffs to guide their ballot box, they think their vote counts. When they finish, we'll conclude everything in our cocoon, in our caucus meeting. When we are through, you shift the thing to court. Go and appeal that you have been denied your mandate. Then we'll just bring our boys. They will just give you the mandate. Is that not what is going on? If the people decide to guard their mandate, guard their votes with their lives by protecting the ballot box from being stolen, and they declare their chosen candidate winner, in the law court, they will reverse the judgment and give it to the person they want.
Of their politicians.
Look, honestly, what we are heading to, God will need to help us here. But with what I'm saying, do we really have judicial? Are they truly independent? Are they truly independent? You can just imagine, when you made that call that they need to call CGN to, I smiled because PDP said the same thing. They said that CGN Tanko should resign. And I was just asking within myself, so who will make him resign? He's the one that constituted the 7-man judge panel that took the mandate away from Ihedioha and gave it to Hope Uzodinma. Both of them, I don't know them personally. I have nothing to do with them. But and the ruling is so wonderful that people are wondering, where did you man? Even the people who watched the accredited observers were like, how did you manufacture? We were there. Where did you manufacture the figures from? This police status you mentioned is only one person that they all voted for, and all of them came out. And these are the questions everybody is asking. Tell us how you got to arrive at this, that a tribunal appeal, High Court did not see, only you saw. How did you see it? They're all quiet, nobody's talking. But the truth of the matter is, they are sworn Hope Uzodinma in. So what will happen? When I hear people, when you say that we can sue them, I'm not saying it's not possible. Who will be the judge? Will a colleague fault a fellow colleague?
And a senior colleague.
And a senior colleague for that matter. You see, when we all sat back, I started complaining early. I started seeing every juicy position being occupied by a certain ethnic group and religion. I raised eyebrow. Nobody saw it with me. It's beginning to play itself. So who's going to question CJN? Was it not just fairly recently that Malami said it's not possible that Amatekun should be legalized? That it's an illegal outfit. And everybody's shouting. So who is going to question Malami? That one too is an AGF. Look, very strategic. See, we are wearing democracy as a cloth. We have entered big time. Except restructure. When we shout restructure, who is going to restructure? Who is the head of Senate? Who is the president of Senate? Still the same set. So who is going to call for the referendum? Who will call for the restructuring? We're in full scale in this. I pray the Lord will help us in this.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pathetic situation, but we are hopeful that as people are talking like this, at least it's a way of telling them that if you've done this once, you may not be able to do it again. Well, let's keep on, social media, judiciary was the last hope of the people. Judiciary has joined them. So right now, the last hope is social media. Let's keep on talking and keep on shouting. I hope that one day all of these will be corrected, because God will raise a man. We are still waiting. God will raise a man that will correct all of this. That's where we are going to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let us interact.